Suicide is an interesting thing because most life fights to survive. If you corner an animal, it will most likely fight to survive. Yet, when we get to suicide, we do the opposite of that instinct. We don't fight to survive. Instead, we look for ways to end things. And suicide really comes down then to two real distinct factors I have noticed. One is that you're in pain, usually emotional pain, but it can be physical. And the second is a loss of hope, that you don't see brighter days ahead or any way out of this situation. And when you are in nothing but pain and you don't see it ever ending, there's only one conclusion the mind can come to, and that's to end everything. And it's really interesting because you can actually see this when it comes to people who go for medical assistance when dying. They're in usually physical pain, and there is no medical treatment to cure what they're going to go through, and they know that the future is only going to get worse and worse and worse. So the hope of things getting better is gone, and they're in pain, so they choose medical assistance in dying. And the same happens for people who are not dealing with a physical disability, but with an emotional impact on their life, some trauma, something that's happened. Maybe it's just acceptance. Maybe you've had someone betray you or hurt you. Maybe you've had your whole life shatter. Maybe you've lost a job and you get to this point where there's no hope. And then you start thinking and you start contemplating. You're kind of trapped in your own head. And then the mind can play some pretty bad games that just kind of pull you down further and darker into that depth where there is no light, there is no hope, there is no future, there is no way out. Believe me, I know this. I am not a suicidal person. Prior to my incident, never contemplated at all. But after my incident in the hospital, I used to play a game, and that game was, if I could kill myself, how would I do it? And I was completely immobile. That all I could do was contemplate ways that I could end my pain and take me out of that hopelessness. I was so consumed with anger, and I didn't have any light to reach for. But I did come to realize that my problem with my suicide were my eyes were looking the wrong way. I was looking inside, internalizing everything I saw, everything that happened to me, how my life had changed, and it wasn't easy to accept everything from how I looked to who I was, to how I provided, to my job, to all my relationships. Everything changed in an instant. And it took me a long time to work through all that stuff. But eventually, my eyes did turn out. And when they turned out, an interesting thing happened. When I stopped looking inside and I started looking outside, I started seeing everything in this world I had worth fighting for. I saw my wife, who cared about me and wanted nothing more than for me to fight. I saw I had a brand new baby girl who needed her dad. I saw my parents and my friends doing what they could so that my wife could come and support me in the hospital. I saw the doctors and nurses that were caring so hard, trying to help me get better. I saw my church family that were doing everything they could to support my family. I saw complete strangers coming to help me. People from Japan, other side of the world, gave money to us just to help us financially. And what I realized when my eyes turned out, there were all these people in the world fighting for me. And the only person not fighting for me was me. It was when my eyes turned out that I decided I would see where this would take me. It wasn't easy. I had to start admitting truths to myself that I didn't want to admit. Things that I'd lied to myself about, that so I could live in that darkness, so things wouldn't get better. Well, I started to then change how I saw things. Now, I'm not sharing with you what actually made my eyes turn out. That's something that you have to find on your own. What I can tell you this is, when you start looking outside of yourself, you will see people who care about you. Everyone in this world has people that care about them. whether you admit it or not. I guarantee you have friends and family. And maybe you don't like how they're supporting you, but I guarantee you if they're trying to support you, they care about you. And maybe sometimes you have to drop those guards on, I don't like the way you're supporting me, to being, all right, I'll accept your support and help me out of this. Because right now, on your own, the solution you have found is to end everything. And is that really a solution? Or is that more of a transfer of pain? Because I promise you, if you do end everything, yeah, you will put an end to the pain you're dealing with and that hope you don't see. All that pain gets transferred to the ones that get left behind. When all you have to do is instead look out of yourself. Find people in this world that care about you. Lean on them. Let them help you. Support you, even if you don't agree with how they're trying to support you. But remember, on your own, your solution is to end everything. So maybe you're not supporting yourself in the right way. And maybe, just maybe, you have to admit that you don't have the answers. Maybe their answers are a little bit better. And then here's the key. You need to actually start moving forward. You need to start pulling yourself out of why me and pushing yourself into what can I do for me. And when you push yourself into what can I do for me, which is what my question was. That was the question that happened when I started looking outside of myself, is what can I do for me? And when I started asking what can I do for me, I started finding answers. I started moving forward. And then all of a sudden I started seeing light. And then that light came closer and closer. And then I started achieving things. And then all of a sudden this hopelessness started turning into hope. And this future that there was no future, that was just full of pain, started to become one that was of joy and accomplishments. And then, about 5 years into my journey, I took a moment and purposely stopped and reflected on everything that had happened and who I had become in those 5 years. I looked back at the guy who saw no hope and was filled with pain and anger and just wanted to end it all. And I was astonished because I was like, I didn't see this outcome at all. And yet now, I'm living this amazing life. I know I look severely burned. I know I'm dealing with things that a lot of people wouldn't want to deal with, but I'm 52 now. And I recently come to realize that I have a great life. And man, that is an astonishing thing to say for a guy 23 years ago who wanted to end it all. But now, I've built this future that I wouldn't change. And I know you can build the same future. I hope you have a good day. If you're not, that's okay. You're allowed to have a bad day. Just don't get locked in that bad day, because that will bring you down to where you don't see hope and you live in pain. And that can lead to suicide. And in the next Broken Pieces, I want to talk a little bit more about hope. And if there's time, we'll talk about help. But we will get to both of those in the near future. Until then, take care.